Let's deal with a little bit more bullshit this morning. How are you guys doing? This is Twilight Mott again. She made a video, tagged me in it, and then in the video says, I only deal with your videos when you come up in my FYP. So let's deal with the video
Will
response.
never admit fault. They will never admit that they're wrong, even when they.
Please stop telling people that I'm trolling your comments and I troll you. I respond to the things that I don't agree with when I see you. I don't go looking for you.
All right. So I respond to that. So I could go into my the inbox and show where she reached out specifically to me and said that she wanted to have a debate on the numbers and all this, that, and the other. I can show you that she's tagged me in multiple videos. I can show you where she's been, in my comment section. And I am like, except for these videos that she has specifically tagged me in that are directed to me, I am not in the comment section of like, I don't believe any of her videos. So, but let's just step past all of that because we got more important fish to fry on this video than the fact that she's obviously disconnected from the reality of what the communication has been in hers and my interaction. So let's move forward.
I understand that you have an issue with grandiosity, and it's clear that you and I do not like each other at all, but there's no reason why we can't have a civil conversation, okay? And for the record, it is Twilight Mayat. You may want to do some research.
All right. So here she is saying people go with the grandiosity thing because my name online is basically Black Jesus. But then here is somebody who is naming herself after a goddess. So I don't know, I guess she rejects Christianity and she aligns herself with traditional African religions. And in that traditional African religion that she does accept, she is calling herself a goddess, right? So just for a moment, think about the mindset. The moment she finishes pointing at grandiosity based off my name, and in the comment section, as you can see, she talks about let's see here. She talks about, and he calls himself Black Jesus. Oh yeah, absolutely problematic as fuck, right? Oh, his name is cringy, and then her and her people, they got no problem with her name, where she calls herself a goddess in a religion that she accepts, because this is your history. She's going to go on to say you should learn your history, right? So this is a religion she accepts, and she puts up, she puts her faith into, and she has named herself after a goddess in that religion. But I'm the problem with grandiosity. At the very least, let's say that us making monikers online was some indication of grandiosity. Then at the very least, you and I are equals in, that premise, which I think is stupid. But if that were the case, and you just were to use your own standard to evaluate, someone's grandiosity, then you're the same stupidity I am then. So let's keep it going. But this is the problem. This is the problem with the way that women like her think, right? And this is, I mean, people can think like this, but you just see it more with women than you do with men. And complete inability to apply the standards they place on themselves for logic, reason, rationale, fairness to their subject, right? Once they get upset and you become the subject of one of their, circular, illogical conversations, they just don't even take the next thought to say to themselves, you know what, I am calling myself a goddess, and he is calling himself, the son of God. This, I really don't have any room to make any points pertaining to this. But here she is leading with my grandiosity. Let's keep it moving.
On your own history so that you better understand these terms and what they mean. Further, I was deliberating on a socioeconomic factor. When you talk about imprisonment, you are talking about education and economics, which is a part of the socio-economic dynamic. So, as to expound on your point, which was,
All right. So when I talk about imprisonment in my video, I'm talking about the fact that less than 5% of black men are in jail. 850,000 black men are in jail out of 19,900,000 black men in America. Okay? And it's even less than that, but I'm not even going to go into why. And so I don't talk about education and socioeconomic. An aspect of how people end up in jail, an aspect of people who are in jail is socioeconomic class. But that wasn't a point I brought up. So here she is framing a point that I'm not making so she can make a point based off of something that she is relating to what I'm talking about. And now she's made that my point. And then she's going to argue against a point I'm not making to show that she's right. And I don't think she realized she's doing it. So let's listen to her do that stupid shit.
a well-made point. I had to look further into our socioeconomic dynamics to find that the class level of our employment structure is also where there is a cultural divide. I noticed that you are a white collar brother. Outside of the internet and outside of the manosphere, blue collar brothers wouldn't really have anything to do with you. And I know that for a fact because I'm a college graduate and I've seen it happen before. Jamal.
All right. So I want you to see the leap she just did here. Okay. Because she has made the point that, all these black men are in jail. And then I provided numbers showing that 5% of black men are in jail, less than 5%, 4.2%. And I said, so you guys got to stop trying to say that as a reason as to why you can't find a good man. Then she responded with, okay, well, the problem isn't jail anymore. The problem is socioeconomic class because 43% of black men are blue collar workers. And, a higher percentage of black women are white collar workers. So white collar and blue collar don't have anything to do with each other. And it's a class problem. And that's why the black woman can't find a man. Okay. So she moved it from we were all in jail to it's a class issue. In a video, she did that without even admitting that she was wrong about the other video. She admitted that I was right about my numbers without saying, you know what? I should stop saying that all black men are in jail. And that's why we can't find good black men, right? That's one of the aspects of why she said we can. And now she's making it my point, the socioeconomic class thing. She's making it my point by saying, you know this because I'm a college graduate. Those things have nothing to do with one another. Oftentimes these ladies, they talk, don't realize they're not making any sense. And women who agree with them are not looking for logic, linear thinking in what they're saying. They just like the way it makes them feel to hear it. They like the way it makes them feel to say it. And so they validate each other. And they don't realize that what they're saying doesn't make any fucking sense or that it isn't linear in the logic that they're presenting. So let's let her finish making this point that literally makes no sense. I am a college graduate. So you and I both know that has nothing to do with each other, right? But that white collar men don't have any association with blue collar men. Yes, they do. We're related to them. They're in the same community as us. They're our brothers. They're our uncles. They're our fathers. They're our cousins. We mentor them. White collar men count on blue collar men. Right? I've had to have blue collar jobs in my past before I became a white collar man. Right? So this thing where, oh, well, you guys don't have anything to do with one another. I don't know. Maybe it's based off a movie and the understanding that somebody would have from watching movies about the community. I don't know. But we are in the same community. We're the same people in the same country dealing with very similar problems that are not exactly the same because, yeah, we do fall into different classes. But this doesn't divorce us and divide us as individuals because you're a garbage man or electrician. I deal with lots of business owners that are electricians, that are blue collar workers. Who in the hell do you think my clients are? Who do you think? Do you think the business transactions I do are for only other white collar men? The vast majority of them are blue collar men. I deal with Americans, normal, everyday, average people for a living. That's what I deal with. So I, let's keep it going. Let's just let her continue to string out this point that literally has nothing to do with reality, that's based off of a whole bunch of premises that she's just coming up with as she speaks, because logic, reason, rationale does not matter. Let's just make our point and talk. Let's hear more talking.
At the construction site does not hang with James in the boardroom. These are just facts, and we know that this country is classist. That being said, there is a cultural difference. I spoke to that cultural difference. White collar and blue collar people have had issues for the longest. It is not a surprise. So you agree with me, but you're mad that I expounded on your thought process.
These weren't my thoughts. I'm not mad you expounded on my thought process. These were your thoughts. You're the one that brought up classism. I told you that it was you moved the goalpost by doing it. So this isn't my thought. You're responding to your own position as if it was my argument. And you, I believe, are not a rational enough person to realize that that's what you did. If any of you guys care enough to go back to her video or my response to it, you'll see she's arguing with herself at this point. And I don't think she knows that. And the women who are hopping into her comment section, I don't think that, I know they aren't going to listen because I'm talking about data, statistics, numbers, and stuff like that. There is absolutely no way that the women who follow her have any interest in like evidence-based thinking. I'm confident about that. So let's go ahead and finish this stupid shit.
Then you acted as if misogyny is not a real thing. Well, I pulled up a scholarly journal, the Oxford University Press of 2017. One of the biggest parts about misogyny is it's primarily about controlling, policing, punishing, and exiling the bad women who challenge male dominance. So how is it bullshit when study upon studies have pontificated on it for centuries, maybe? And what do people in the manosphere exalt? Because we got to make room for pygmishas. Women who are modest, women who are traditional, women who lobotomize themselves for males, women like me.
All right. So women who are modest and traditional are women who lobotomize themselves. And you think that the problem is misogyny? You think that the problem with men is that they don't want to deal with combative, disagreeable, illogical, irrational women like yourself, who just made an entire video where you argued against your own points as if they were mine, made up points I didn't even make to respond to, and legitimately accused me of grandiosity while being guilty of the same standard of it. You think the problem is that men don't want to go back and forth with you and would prefer women who think that they are supposed to be helpful to the men they want to see leadership from. That's what you think the problem is. You don't think the problem is combative, disagreeable women like you arguing completely irrational arguments and then shaming women who want to be in cooperation with men by calling them pygmies. So that's not the problem. That's not the problem, right? The problem is the fact that I don't want to go back and forth with somebody who doesn't even have a standard for rational discourse. You know, you speak like you're an intelligent person until you ask, you look at what it is you're actually saying. And then the moment that you do that, you realize you're just argumentative, combative, because the points you're making aren't like points to be made. You bring up this journal about misogyny from Oxford as if people are going into the universities these days and, you know, taking to heart the woman studies, content that is being pushed and indoctrinated on everybody that completely frames every problem in society. as misogyny, toxic masculinity, or patriarchy. Like, have you not been on the internet to any degree listening to male content and male centric content? Like, the entire world right now is criticizing the American educational system as being a hotbed for feminist indoctrination. The fact that you found articles from Oxford on misogyny and you act like this is something people have been discussing for hundreds of years. People have been discussing this for hundreds of years. People have taken for granted for a very long time that men should be in leadership. And I'll tell you why. It's a very simple thing because women want men to lead. I know you don't like that. You probably don't agree with that. But women want men to lead. And I'll tell you why. When you ask a woman what she's looking for in a man, most women, we're saying most, not all, not every, so that we can just say, is this a majority of women? Yes, it's a majority of women. The majority of women who do want a relationship with a man, one of the aspects that they ask for is they want a man who can lead. So guess what men don't ask for? If you were to ask the majority of men, guess what we don't ask for in our interpersonal romantic relationships out of women? We don't want a leader. Men don't say, you know what, I really wish I could have a woman that leads. So if your dating matrix, not yours, but women's dating matrix, the average woman, not all women, not every woman, the average woman's dating matrix says, I want a man who can lead me. And the average man, he doesn't want to deal with that mindset from a woman, then patriarchy and male leadership is baked into the cake of relationships because women are only going to deal with men they think that can lead, and men don't give a shit about finding female leadership. That means if a woman finds what she wants, then she's finding a leader, which means the majority of women end up with men who they believe are can lead them. That's not misogyny. That's baked into the cake. That's 100 million years of evolution in the reptile brain. That's what that is. So you can complain about these things and label these very natural, ways that human beings have learned to cooperate over the last, 100 million years. You can label that all you want, and you can be mad about it, and you can sit in the women's studies degrees and sit up and run your mouth about the shit. But it's not going to change until women don't want male leadership in their interpersonal romantic relationships. And guess what? I know that you feminists here in the United States of America and womanists and you women who are focused on matriarchy and all of this shit, that's not what y'all want. And y'all, man, even though I do hear y'all say all the time, I want a man that can lead and men aren't leading and blah, 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 blah. Men aren't complaining about women not leading. We want y'all to go back into your natural position of cooperation with men, right? But you can say that all you want. But the problem you have is there is absolutely no group of men that agree with how you think except for gay men. There's no group of men, not Asians, Arabs, Indians, not whites, not black men. You don't have a single group of men that agree with how you think about relationships and what you want out of relationships. No group of men. So the fact that I'm even bothering to respond to you is a blessing because I'm going to tell you something. There is no crosshatch between you and I and what we want for the community, want for ourselves, want in this nation. Nothing. Nothing. I would be perfectly content to never have another conversation with you because I know for a fact there is absolutely nothing meaningful that's going to come of it. Zero. Because you and I just don't want the same things. You're arguing with yourself about points that you made, and you're using me as a subject for that because I'll tell you why. Because I represent an echelon, a class of men who refuses to deal with you in any other capacity. You don't get to date guys like me. We don't court girls like you. The only capacity that you deal with me in, guys like me, is sexual. And that's if you are quiet. And you know that. You know that. So because of that, you just hate guys like me. You hate guys like me. Y'all call us narcissists because we have standards that exclude women like you. That's what it is. That's what it is. You think that it makes a man a narcissist or a misogynist if he doesn't want to argue with you, because the truth of the matter is the only way you know how to deal with a man like me is to argue. But there's still 100 million years of evolution in your reptile brain telling you need to find a dominant man. But every time you find a dominant man, you're not in touch with your nature. You're combative, disagreeable, aggressive. You think some man is supposed to force you into submission. So because of that, you can't do anything but argue with us. And so that makes you hate us because you don't want to deal with the reality of yourself. And the reality of yourself is the type of men you want don't want anything to do with you, because you have developed all of these mindsets, emotional and mental practices that are completely repulsive to the type of men you're attracted to. That's your problem. It's not my problem. Okay? Go get some help with that.
No matter what my integrity level is, because I don't acquiesce to male dominance. I'm evil.
And the last point about her being evil, right? So check this out. I do actually believe that women like you are evil, okay? And I'll tell you why. Because take evil off of, let's look at evil functionally. If there is a natural order for things to be best, not perfect, not to never fail, not for men and women to get together and every man and every woman to stay married to the end of time. But if there is a natural order, then you, in your idea set, you are a representative of somebody who wants to go against their natural order, right? And because you want to go against that natural order, because you reject your position in life, you reject where nature has typecast you, you reject where God has put you in the hierarchy, right? You want to elevate yourself outside of that. If there is a system that is working and there is somebody who wants to throw a monkey wrench into that system, then that person that wants to break the system because they don't want to be where they're supposed to be would be evil inside of that system. So as it pertains to nuclear families, you and your concepts, they are evil. They are against the natural order. They oppose the natural order. And guess what one of Satan's names was? The opposer. Yep. You oppose the natural order. You know women are supposed to be in cooperation to men, and you know they're supposed to be looking towards men for leadership. But you don't like that and you don't want that. And that's fine for you. But the fact that you espouse it, and that you think that you're representing some revolutionary class of women when you're still a human being, and as a human being, your life cycle includes creating other human beings as a woman. And so let's say you choose not to do that, which I'm sure you probably do have children and the dads are nowhere to be found and not dealing with you, right? But you're going to reproduce children that are outside the natural order, the spirit of Lilith. You're going to reproduce children that are outside of male leadership. And so, yes, in terms of the family dynamic system, in terms of the social system that we are in, you are an opposer to that. You are evil inside of this system. You don't want where it is that you've been cast in the system. And so you oppose it and you fight to try to destroy it. But you're in opposition to your own nature. Because here you are talking to a dominant male. That is what you are attracted to. That is what you are attracted to. You would absolutely love to have a man who can orate, who can think in your life. You would absolutely love a man like me that was completely head over heels for you and wanted to make a wife out of you. You would love that. But you don't know how to attract us. You have absolutely no clue how to maintain a relationship with us. So here you are, looking crazy as shit, arguing stupidity on the internet because this is the only level of interaction you can get. It's fucking sad.